Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello everyone, I hope everyone is fine and thank you for your attendance today. This is the second lecture of the course, Project Cost Estimation, and actually this is I think the 9th or the 10th lecture in the series of 12 free project management lectures. We have gone through many courses or many lectures via the last period. And I think we have started 3 or 4 courses, FEDIC Module 1 and Certified Contract Manager and arbitration, engineering arbitration. And here we are in Project Cost Estimation training course. This is the second lecture. It was an initiative to release or broadcast a free 12 lectures, and I hope everyone get enjoyed or get some knowledge from our esteemed instructors. I don't want to get into too much details. I will just give a brief description for the course outlines and how you can apply and attend. And our colleagues on LinkedIn, they can join us via Zoom if they just want to comment, and I will post the Zoom link later once I finish. Before I start the introduction, a lot of our like clients or engineers, they asked about why we produce the course or provide the course with English. Actually, we have started a lot of Arabic lectures via the previous 2 or 3 years, but based on some requests and as a one step ahead to develop the level of professionality or the level of actually most of like companies in the Middle East or Gulf area are using English language on a daily basis. So this is an initiative to provide the course with English language for all those who are interested to get the course in English. So sorry for this. We have Arabic courses, and this is the initiative to provide the course in English based on your request. So sorry for this. Soon we will provide another courses in Arabic, inshallah. I hope you see the share screen. If you can see it, just comment or somebody raise his hand so I'll make sure that you see the share screen. Is anyone here? Once Fauzi, can you see the share screen? I'm sharing the PDF. Is anyone can listen to me or I'm out of connection? It seems the issue with Engineer Fauzi. He will join us. I will start. Franz Fauzi, we can't hear you. Just open the mic, please.
You muted me.
No, there is a disconnection.
No problem.
Okay, I see Engineer Muhammad Jabbari. He is here. He was asking the previous lectures about some questions. Please connect with me after this lecture. Okay, I will share the screen. Excuse me, Hans Fauzi, I will share the instruction screen. So let's start. Stop delays. I'm sorry. I will go quickly with the outlines of the course or the course objectives. The course outlines cost management overview and cost estimation methodologies, cost estimate classes and accuracies, approaches to cost estimation application areas, application to various industrial projects, life cycle cost estimation, CAPEX, OPEX estimation, DCAP cost estimation, checklist for cost estimation, pitfalls or shortfalls in cost estimation. There is also computer-based estimation tools, case studies, and way forward post-course assessment workshop, and top 10 takeaways. This where the course outlines in speed or quickly. Let's give a quick introduction regarding our instructor work experience. Once Fawzi Harraz, he is a BSc Marine Engineering and Naval Architectural, June 1975, chartered engineer, member of the Institution of Marine Engineering, Science and Technology. Key training experience, project development planning at Al Furat Oil Company in Damascus, 1995, Petrobel, Cairo, Ecoman, Dubai, project cost management, earned value management, project controls, certified contract management at PTS, Dubai, project planning and scheduling training in Istanbul, project training and project technical and economical evaluation in Kuala Lumpur, 2015, value engineering ADNOC Abu Dhabi, effective maintenance management for Winter Shell Libya, oil and gas maintenance strategies in Kazakhstan, 2021. And his work experience is more than 50 years or 45, I believe. We're in project manager for civil construction projects through senior plant shutdown planner, lead project control engineer, and lately project controls manager at Ethitco petrochemical plant. I would like to stop here and allow Engineer Fawzi to entertain us with his knowledge. I will provide how to apply in the course details in the chat. And my colleagues who want to join us in Zoom, if they are via LinkedIn or Facebook, just comment and we will reply to you. So you can having questions or discussion with the instructor. Engineer Fawzi, the mic is with you.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you very much. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Assalamu alaikum, our dear cost champions. Last lecture, we gave a brief overall on the cost engineering function, the importance and areas that need cost engineering support. I'm just briefing again, saying, okay, starting with this, we actually sent you the previous lecture slides plus, I think, 20 or 30 slides ahead that we'll go over today as a pre-read. It would be better if the people go to the meeting with some knowledge of the material that will be produced. Okay, this slide says importance of cost estimation. Importance of cost estimation to whom? To myself as a professional estimator or to the company management? Actually, there are two views actually. For the management, for the company management, importance of cost estimation is to make informed decisions, information-based decisions on selecting between options or deciding to go into a bid package, a tender, new tender, or deciding to build a facility or to change the facilities or so. That's for the management. From the professional cost estimator, the importance actually is to support management so that management evaluate what we are doing. And from the other aspect is to have a career and have a chance to work. We should always be taking care of ourselves by ensuring that over the market changes, ups and downs, we have a chance to go here and go here in this type of project, in this role in the project, in this body, whether this is the owner or the consultant or the contractor. So this is the importance of cost estimation. So what we have, cost estimation is important for business decisions such as make firm investment decisions. This is for the management at certain time in the asset development we'll see this slide 55. There are stages of asset development, starting with feasibility, and then going to options or concepts selection. After that, we go into the concept definition, which is the basic design or the feed package. At the end of the feed package, we have the so-called gate 3, in which the management make a decision to authorize the full investment of the facility. The facility is, say, a hotel. You may be talking about 1 billion Egyptian pound or $500,000, $500 million. If it is a refinery, you could be talking about $2 billion price these days. So this is a big decision, and it must be based on a strong feed estimate or definitive estimate to a high accuracy, so that the decision to go for it ensures the company is making good business. Screen and rank various proposed development scenarios or concepts. That we mentioned that before gate 3, gate 2, the previous stage is concept development. Concepts, we have in developing any facility, we have some options, 3 or 4 options. For example, for the hotel, one of the options is the location and number of rooms and supplementary facilities. On the refinery, it could be actually the parts of the refinery, the process units in the refinery. Is it just distillation, or there will be hydrocracking or catalytic cracking or whatever? So these are the conceptions to be ranked, evaluated from the invest and economics. So this is another role of the cost estimation, is to support management. Say we have 3 options. Option, say number 2 is the best option. So we take that option for further consideration. Assess the feasibility of a prospect. That's actually the early stage of the development. Justify a potential project change. Here, if we have a running project and the owner wants to make a change, that change will cost some money and will have some, possibly some schedule impacts. Cost estimator is required to tell us what is the payback of this change. If we spend $50 million for a change, what will be the payback on the revenues of that project? So this is one occasion that the cost estimation will be required to support. Benchmark EPC contractor bid proposals. If we are tendering a job, we will be receiving, say, 3 or 4 bids. The estimator must have his own internal estimate, and he should be capable to benchmark the 3 or 4 bids that he receives to his internal estimate and make sure that there is no anomalies. Last time we highlighted the odd situation on the bids, including what we call bid rigging or carteling, price carteling, saying if the estimator made an internal estimate, say the project estimate is $1 billion, he should be expecting bids in the range of $1 billion, 100 million or 1 billion 200 million. But if he receives 1 billion and 500 million, 1 billion and 600 millions, this is way above the reasonable market estimate. In this case, it appears that the bidders have colluded, يعني حصل تواطؤ, and they are rigging the bid, shaping it in a certain direction from the original intent of open invitation. In this case, the estimator will cross-check his estimate and confirm that the bidding process has been rigged and he will highlight this to the management. And I've been asked what is the decision to be made. The decision is to cancel the bid and retender, because actually this very high bids will damage the economics of the project, will damage the feasibility of the project and the payback of the investment. So this is one situation, is to check and benchmark and rank the EPC bids that we receive. Number 6, cost benefit analysis and assess project economics. Cost benefit analysis, it's actually any change in the project will generally involve cost impact. This could be cost saving or cost increase. Against this cost change, there will be some benefits that we add or some benefits that we lose. So the two things, the costs and the benefits associated with it, shall be weighted, and as a common sense, if you're making a change that costs you $1 million, the payback should be, say, $1.3 million or $1.5 million. But if the cost is 1 million and the payback is 1 million, or payback is 900, it's less than the cost. So this means cancel the proposed change. This is the intent of a cost benefit analysis. And again, this whole exercise is actually based on the output of the cost estimation plus the financial analysis, who give the NPV, net present value, IRR, internal rate of return. By the way, all these abbreviations are at the beginning. There is a complete list, maybe you have seen it, of acronyms used throughout the course. So the economics people always calculate the net present value and the internal rate of return, and the management will see to proceed or not to proceed with this investment proposal based on these values of NPV and IRR. One other application is make equipment replacement decision, revamps and upgrades. Maybe some of you say this is very strange, but I've always said that cost estimation should cover all the business areas, should cover it from the owner, the consultant, the contractor, should cover it through various stages of the development, feasibility, concept screening, development, and even after development. This equipment replacement is during the operation. To make it simple for you, most of us are using our private cars, our own cars, and at certain time I see that the car is we see that the car, after making, say, 200 or 300 kilometers, started to cost lots of money on maintenance, and the fuel consumption went more, and so on. So we consider replacing this car because the economics, actually, the cost per kilometer is becoming much more than normal. And compared to a new car, the economics, the operation, and even the added value of new equipment is there. So this is one area that the cost engineering support to make a decision. Is it valuable or rational or reasonable to make this decision? Evaluate asset value from the perspective of the life cycle engineering, life cycle cost engineering, LCC. Life cycle covers various stages of the asset, from the planning and feasibility through construction and then operation until the end of decommissioning, abandoning and decommissioning at the end of the lifetime, maybe after 40 years or longer. So in all these stages, there will be questions of how much this cost, and then how much the total life cycle cost is, and the overall economics of this. So these are key areas actually where cost estimation plays a key role in making various decisions. Or you, as a professional cost estimator, the more your knowledge is versatile, is diversified, is covering many areas, many topics, the more chance you have to get a job with a contractor, an owner, a consultant in whatever area. So that's why I seriously encourage you to be open to the topics of cost engineering. Don't just limit yourself to bid preparation or limited estimation exercise. If you limit your capacities, you limit your chances of having a job. And we know that the market is fluctuating. Some companies close down, some projects end, and so on. So cost engineering, data gathering, we've said before and we repeat that the quality of the cost engineering exercise we're doing, cost estimate, cost benefit, whatever, depends on the data, depends on the input data. The more accurate the data, the more complete the data, the better quality of the output of the exercise. So the very starting point of any estimating or cost engineering exercise is to see the data. What do I need to develop the exercise? There's lots and lots of data, but then you have to evaluate which data to use. If you are, for example, preparing a bid, definitely you need recent unit prices from the same market, preferably, considering the most recent market changes. So this improves the input data. Again, the BOQ, the bid estimate is the BOQ and the unit rates. So the BOQ, the quantities and the specification should be clear and to the contractual requirements of the tender. So that's a general rule. The quality of the information is very important. Then these quality should be organized and grouped into specific classes of estimates, depending on the type of estimate that were prepared. The information should be documented regarding the source. The source could be personal input, your own experience, from database, from vendors, from peers, from your colleagues, your estimating colleagues. You should actually give a note to the source.
دقيقة واحدة يا باشمهندس، في كام واحد مزعج كده دخلوا هطلعهم. لحظة واحدة.
طيب ماشي.
أظن حضرتك ممكن تبدأ تعمل شير سكرين.
طيب تمام ماشي.
لو جال حضرتك أي ريكوست أو حاجة ما تقبلوش، هتلاقي جالك.
أنا جالي قبل كده قلت ديكلاين، قال لي.
أيوه، قول لي بس مين اسمه، ولو حد ابتدى يشتغل على الزوم سوري على الشير سكرين هيبان لك اسمه، قول لي برضه.
اوكي
شكرا.
طيب نرجع نقول الريكويرمنتس بتاعت الداتا. ليه الداتا مهمه؟ organized و qualified، يعني السورس بتاعها is known. We are always, when we present, when we make an estimate, we present it for approval. It's not just the final thing. And our seniors or the management will normally ask you, where did you get that figure? So you should be prepared to answer, I brought this from a similar project. I got this from the database of the company, similar project. I got this from a peer. That was my experience. You have to quickly answer that. And that should be a note to the right of each item, so that you have ready answers for the questions, for the challenge questions from whoever is reviewing or approving the estimate. So this is a value of the information being qualified and organized. Yes, as point number 3, should be organized for fast and easy access. Should be systematic, holistic. Holistic means complete, comprehensive, using checklists. By the way, one of the tools for quality cost estimate, for a good cost estimate, is using checklists so that we do not forget anything. One of the big shortfalls of estimate is if you forget some cost items. So using the checklists, not working from the memory, avoid this problem. Should always have rationale, should be benchmarked, should be qualified, where the figure is being adjustment due to whatever consideration. So these are important notes on information. Now we continue. Don't know what is happening.
في مشكلة هندسة أو حاجة؟
لا أبدا، أنا مش عارف البوب أب ده اللي طلع في الجنب ده كده.
نعم؟
بس خلاص باك أهو. مفيش مشكلة. Input data for cost estimating. We have engineering data, quantities and specifications, drawings. We have development plans, project execution plans. Of course, the plans and the way we are executing the job, are we doing it with our resources or are we using outside contractors? All this has input into the cost data, planning data, as we said before. Execution procedures in general are very important. For example, I mean, for concrete things, if it is a big quantity, are we buying from a ready mix nearby plant, or are we installing and doing it on site by our crew? So the execution method, contract data, contract terms actually, and contractor obligations should be considered in the cost estimation of the project. Risk management input data. For each estimate, on top of the base estimate figure, the definitive figures or the dry cost items, we have to add a contingency. That contingency covers the risks that happen with every project. So risk management input is simply advising how much contingency to add. Is it 20 million? Is it 10% or whatever? And there is a detailed process of quantitative risk assessment as part of this course that will follow later on. It's very important. I mean, it's not direct cost estimating role, but cost estimation use the input of this from the risk management group. Financial data, invoice tracking, that's actually important in the cash flow. In fact, the economics or the feasibility of the project assumes certain costs and certain revenues. Revenues are the invoices according to time frames or time dates, let's say. That actually confirms the value of the project. To clarify this, if, for example, we are a contractor and the estimator said the total cost of the project is, say, 1 billion, including the contingency. So the company will add a markup, say 30%, and will bid a price for $1,300,000,000. The actual value, considering the devaluation of money, I mean, you don't get this money at the beginning, you get it over 3 or 4 years. So the net present value of the price will not actually be 1,300,000,000. Will be something less because of the forward escalation and devaluation of the money. I mean, the dollar today is less 1 year and much less than 2 years. I hope that this is clear. So the scheduled performance of the project actually governs the net benefit or the net profit of the company. That's what we mean by the financial data. The project transactions, project activities, variations or changes, or industry best practices and peer input. Of course, sometimes when we miss any source, any reliable source, company, database, and similar project, our peer reviews I don't have. We go back to the basics of industry best practice. For example, the American Association of Cost Engineers and many other institutions give those norms for various activities. We have to be very careful using these things because they definitely refer to different areas, different specifications. So we need really to apply benchmarking to suit the figure to our case. Now, some details, input data. We have for example, for building a summer resort at Red Sea area, or a 50 villa project, or access road, or a COG and power generation plan. So this is the statement of requirement. We need to read it carefully and understand. The more knowledge we have, as I said at the beginning, is the better quality that the estimate will be. Basic design and feed package. Basic design and feed are the same. I mean, in civil infrastructure, they say basic design. In process and power, they use the feed. Feed is the front-end engineering design, FEED. Outline drawings and preliminary BOQs and specification. Detailed engineering, we have all these discipline drawings here. Development plan. Project handover phases, that's part of the development. Maybe if we are building a hotel, we plan to make it in 2 phases or 3 phases, subsequent expansions. The same with any process plant. We may be building the first stage and then 2 or 3 years later add. So this is the phases and the master schedule of the project. Execution plan, the contracting strategy. Shall we building or shall we applying EPC philosophy or split packages? That's from the owner. That's an order decision. Use EPC and split package. Each one has merits and demerits regarding cost and schedule and risks. Use company owned or outside resources. That's one thing. If I'm a main contractor, I may decide to build most of the thing with my own company resources, or I may sublet. And of course, the contract maximizes the amount of subletting, not to exceed certain amount. So within limitation, we can decide to sublet certain parts of the scope. Cost data, unit rates, dollars per meter cube concrete, tons, dollars per ton steel, blah, blah, blah. Engineering unit rates, dollars per drawing, staff man hours, I mean the civil engineer costs X dollars per man hour. Construction, all in composite rate. That's actually including all the trades with various unit rates. You have a gross construction all in composite rate. We'll see that in detail later. Procurement, equipment prices and delivery times. Planning data, project schedule, cost, time, resource, data sheets, CTRs, and man-hour norms. Cost, time, resource, data sheets. Actually, I used to do this long time ago when I was a planner, and this actually is very useful to control the costs and define the scope very well and qualify the numbers. It's very useful. Maybe we go in detail through this. I'm not sure if these are currently common these days. Maybe some owners actually insist on having this for clarity. So, for example, if one activity, say, equipment foundation, for example, this is a concrete activity called equipment foundation. Which equipment? Which area? So the CTR actually defines which equipment and give the equipment numbers, and even put the reference drawing where these design information are available for this equipment. That defines it actually, not just leaving it open. So someone may say this is in the activity or this is outside the activity. Man-hour norms, actually all the planners actually have this information to make this activity cost X man-hour from that trade, and then the cost engineer actually take this man-hour and multiply by the trade unit rates to get the cost. So starting with the norms and then using the unit rates, we get the cost. Contract data, terms and conditions, obligations, compensation, remuneration or compensation. Is it lump sum? Is it quantity rate? Is it reimbursable? Most contracts actually, even the lump sum, have some unit rates for variations, and they have part of cost plus activities that are not covered by quantity rates. In this case, the contractor will have to prepare clear documents for what was done and maybe submit backup market invoices or something like that. Risk management process, we've said that before. Actually, the intent is to decide or define or evaluate the contingency of the project. Project transactions, minutes of meeting, communications, progress reports. All these may give the estimator some notes to add to the estimation. These item 10, the project transactions, actually are very important later on during the project execution. I mean, we'll start with a project estimate, or say a bid price if I'm a contractor. And then during the course of the project, there will be some meetings, discussions, communication, progress reports. The contract administrator or QS, quantity surveyor or whoever, will take note of things that involve scope changes in one way or another, and start preparing a change order. Based on this. And then if that idea is good, then the estimator will dig how to, which quantities and which costs are involved. These things are used to develop what the estimator called cost trends. Cost trends. If it seems that the owner wants to do this change, contract administrator and cost estimator will get together and evaluate the thing and add a new cost item based on this. This is what we call a cost trend. In this case, we have the initial cost and then the cost trend. So we get the estimate at completion, which will be the sum of base estimate plus the cost trend. So this is the value. So in this case, the owner will be updated with his final cost at completion based on the project changes happening from time to time. industry best practices and peer input. Okay. Any other source data is useful. So, okay. This slide said about the qualification of the cost engineering data. And it says that any data source is useful if it is documented, if we know what it is, from where, and if it is properly used in the right business context. The thing is here, not any information to be used anywhere. I mean, to clarify this, I mean, if the quality of the information is rough, is unreliable, then it's not good to use it in the definitive estimate. It's not up to that. So that's what we mean by the business context. It is not up to being in that. It may be used on earlier estimate, on feasibility estimate, on conceptual estimate, because the accuracy of the definitive estimate should be within, say, 15% plus or minus, while the conceptual is plus or minus 25%. The feasibility is plus or minus 40%. So the range of accuracy mandates or oblige us to use quality. If we need better accuracy, we should use quality information. So if we know that this information is not quite reliable, we should not use it on a high accuracy estimate, such as the definitive estimate, which we said is used for a big decision. Good information sources to be considered are senior staff and peers. Really, this is a very ready, good source of information. The seniors, the project managers, and the project control managers have valuable experience from their long service on the job. And the peers. The peers are the professional estimators. Like peers are the ones doing the same thing as you. Your peers, if you are an estimator, your peers are estimators from other companies and other projects. Similar recent case project, if you are building a hotel and there is a recent hotel being built by the same company or whatever, if that would be very useful actually, especially if the specification level is quite close in the two projects. Otherwise, you have to benchmark and consider. I mean, if the specs and architectural finishes in one is deluxe and your project is something less, then you have to consider this in decreasing the rates and costs. So similar case project, purchase order and contracts. Again, it's a similar purchase order if something same commodity. Recent, the point recent means that considering the same market level, because the purchase order reflect always the market conditions. The prices this year are very different from previous year or the years ago. So say recent so that the difference in escalation or devaluation or raising of the prices is not there. Vendor and contractor budget quotations. That's one thing, one very useful thing, and it can be used for concept selection and for some items in the definitive estimate, some small items actually can be used. Professional institutions, I think this is AACE, American Association of Cost Engineers. There are magazines actually. There is the cost engineering, and there are many other magazines that provide cost engineering from time to time. There is hydrocarbon processing, gives very valuable information on refinery and process plant project estimates and cost engineering data. Company database definitely is very valuable source. Project closeout reports has lots of details about cost engineering and cost information data, unit prices, man-hour norms, and all these valuable information is actually given in the closeout reports and cost guidelines. Published cost engineering reference. There are some books actually, such as Richardson cost estimation, Page cost estimation. Page is not the page on the book. There's one man called Page, and he developed a very big reference book, maybe 10 volumes, giving details on electrical estimation, structural estimation, civil equipment, welding, and all these things. There's lots of details that are there. The thing is, you have to be very careful in using these unit rates, because normally they refer to projects done in either Europe or the United States. In the Middle East, the unit rates definitely are different, because the labor productivities and the market sources and the labor unit rates are different. So we have to be very careful when using information from these sources. Books and magazine, hydrocarbon processing, cost engineering, and so on. Training courses, workshops, and conferences. Definitely these one source that may be used if we miss. Of course, if we miss all the reliable sources, such as company database, similar recent projects, vendor quotations, then we have to use any available other source. Guidelines for use of estimating source data. The best source of information depends on the time of preparation or updating of the estimate. Let's say there is no need to spend more effort for detailed design. We are doing a conceptual cost estimate. I'd say if you don't want high accuracy, if you want high accuracy, you definitely will ask for detailed bill of quantities. You will look for specifications. But if you are doing a conceptual estimate, accuracy plus minus 25%, you can make some assumptions. So the best information depends on what the estimate will give. Will give a feasibility estimate or a concept selection estimate or a definitive estimate. So this is rule number one. Practically, the estimator may have to use a combination of the information sources. The estimator will prefer to use the higher quality information sources, and then if he doesn't have it on other parts of the estimate, he may go to less quality information. So in some time, he will be using a combination of information sources. And of course, if you are talking about a big cost item, you definitely will be looking for detailed and quality information, and you will be checking and cross-checking. If it is a minor item, you can make an assumption. There is no big difference. And the guideline here is what they call Pareto principle. Pareto principle, if you have an estimate that's a 100-line item, you have 20% of these 100-line item making almost 80% of the total estimate. So these are the big items, the big tickets that you should focus on and make a big effort on to verify the accuracy of the information. The other things, I mean, the error in the small item is minor, but the error in the big item is big. So you should avoid as much as you can making errors on the big items, because that error will be big on the estimate, final figure. The basis of estimate must give notes and clearly state the information source used in any specific items in the estimate, even if such data is a pure gut feeling. That's why I say at the end, if you don't have any source ready, you can make any assumption like that. I think it will be like that. But that only, as you said, applies to the small items in the estimate. But there should be a note so that if one challenge, if the management approving say, where did you get that figure from? Say it's just like that, ballpark. I think it's like that. So you should be prepared with a qualification and say even if it is a gut feeling or a ballpark. This ensures a robust estimate and clarity on the items that need updates in future. If you want to update any item, if later on you have some more specific information, then you can update the cost item using this more recent information. So these are the guidelines to use estimating source data. This slide is very important, and I will have to take the sounds off. Okay. Good cost engineering practices. Of course, this is just a summary of the key elements to make a good cost engineering exercise. All these items are detailed later on. Let's go. So first thing is to make a robust, credible estimate. We go quickly over this. Credible estimate. Credible means true, means honest. There's no bias. That's a credible estimate. Consider project success probabilities. That item is to cover contingency. Simply consider the contingency and add the contingency. Carefully challenge deterministic estimate. Avoid bias. Deterministic estimate is the one that is used actually for the investment decision. So you need to put lots of effort in challenging the numbers. Avoid bias. In some cases, actually, the estimators and the project managers got some pressure from the management to direct the project on, looking attractive or the other way. So they tend to sympathize with the management and do that. This is not good practice. This is not good practice. We should do our best effort and present the figures that we believe there. If the management want to make any alternative, they are free. But we should not support them in making a biased decision. So if for example, they are interested to do the job, and they want someone to tell them, yes, it's a good project. The estimate that you made is 1 billion. They actually want you to say, no. 800 million is enough. Don't do that. Don't do that. Make your estimate credible and realistic. Don't mislead others in their decision. They should use their information and make their own decisions. There is a slide called the bandwagon, which is a big management failure when some people, influential people, want to sing a song that you don't like, but then you are forced to sing with them the same song. This is the bandwagon, that everyone go on the same direction, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not. This is the bandwagon dilemma. Stay independent. Always. Number 4, establish management of change process with rational review and approvals, and track changes and knock-on effects. That's actually related to the changes and variations in the cost estimate. Timely process the changes, approving the changes or rejecting. I think this is from the owner or consultant point of view, because these things affect the final estimate at completion. If you approve, then you need to request and authorize funds to support these additional costs. build the trends. I think that's as a result of the management of change, or as a result of the project transaction that from day to day, from the project events and scenarios develop. Ensure consistency, very important. Actually, use the same work breakdown structure or cost breakdown structure, and that actually ensures two things: that you do not forget any item, big or small, or you do not duplicate an item. If you have clear work breakdown structures with code and description, you should not fall in this big shortfall of forgetting one item or duplicating or double dipping one item. Provide clarity with CTRs, contractual alignment, avoid claims. Actually, the one of the things is if we make a breach or cause any impact on the contractor, we will be subject to claims, and that claim actually can highly affect the project estimate. Rational negotiations for scope changes, that's the change orders. Rational negotiations, fair negotiations. Document, flag, and report cost trends from whatever the source. That trends actually, if the estimator or the project team notice that every 2 or 3 months the owner raises a note, and that note involves a change, and that change means additional cost, that will be a trend. That if that owner practice continues, then we have a trend that we can really make an estimate that at the end of a project, it seems that the original estimate will increase by that amount. That's the trend. Track and flag, contingency rundown, ensure streamlined cost control and invoicing, ensure that at all times the cost progress matches the physical progress. That's one important thing, that you overpay or underpay the contractor. What he gets is quite corresponding to what is being done. And that's again one of the cost support functions. Contingency rundown. This is the slide quite close here. It's a curve like that. The red curve is what we are monitoring. The two other curves actually. So what the red curve says is that, okay, we start with a contingency of 10 million here.
باشمهندس فوزي، السلام عليكم. معلش انا مضطر بس اوقف حضرتك قلت لي افكرك بعد مرور ساعه من الكورس.
انا فعلا شفت النوتة بتاعتك وكتب لي اخر سلايد وهنفتح الوقت. اشكرك على التنبيه.
ماشي.
الكونتنجنسي the 10 million can go up, can increase or decrease. If in your estimate you estimated, for example, buying the boilers, if we're talking about a hotel, if you estimate the boilers to cost $5 million, and then when you place the order, it actually took 4 million, not 5 million. This saving of 1 million goes into the contingency. So it increases the contingency from 10 to 11. Then, if you order the HVAC system, you have estimated 50 million. And the actual purchase order ended up with 55 million. So there is an increase of 5 million. This 5 million is taken from the contingency. So it brings the contingency down. Down the road of the project execution, you are making orders, you are making subcontracts. In the original estimate, the actual is different. So if it is a reduction, that adds to the contingency. If it is an excess or extra, that takes from the contingency. The curve actually goes like that. here some good orders with the actual value less than the estimate, and then we started making the orders that are higher. So we're reducing. Now that thing that says that at the end of the project, actually about 2 years, we ended up with 0 contingency, or maybe actually less, marginally less. So the success of the project is to finish the project with 0 contingency, which means that we have just spent the original budget of the project. The budget is the cost plus the contingency. So this is the ideal case. So as this okay. This table here actually is tracking changes. If you see here, there are figures with some notes on the cells, so that, I mean, okay, the first item, say a trend of 250. Where does this come from? He says supplier email dated blah blah blah. The information implied that there will be a cost increase of that thing. The next item actually says that engineering email dated such and such, which again reflects some spec changes and so on. So each of these trends, you write a note, which is actually a cell. Every cell, most of you, I think, I'm sure about, you know, every cell you can add a note, and then this note actually can be updated from time to time as the information of the project changes. So at this time, I hope that with this part, we can expect some discussion, some questions. Please feel free to share with us your question. Do you have any questions? دكتورة منى. دكتورة منى كانت معانا في الأول.
ايوه حضرتك.
أهلا دكتور.
اهلا بحضرتك.
لو عندك أي أسئلة في الجزء اللي اتقال نسمع. أي حد اتفضل.
يعني انا بس كنت بستفسر، هو الكورس يا دكتور هيتطرق لكوست كنترول مش استيميشن؟
هو واضح من سياق حضرتك، هو فعلا في بعض الريات احنا بنعمل حاجات هي مخلوطه بالكوست كنترول. يعني هي حكايه الترندز دي المفروض انه بيعملها كوست كنترول. يعني هو يعني في ناس بيقسموها الكوست استيميشن، يسلم المشروع. انا بسميها كوست انجينيرنج. الحقيقه هي شامله انك تعمل استيميت في بدايه المشروع وتعمل الكوست ات كلوز اوت. فده بيمر فيه الكوست كنترول زي ما حضرتك اثرت التساؤل ده.
يعني هو
انا عندي سؤال هنا. حضرتك دكتوره منى صح كده؟ معاكي مهندس محمد حسين.
ايوه اهلا بيك.
ازيك يا فندم؟ اخبار حضرتك ايه؟
الحمد لله.
دكتوره منى يعني نقول زميلتنا او استاذتنا في شركه بتروجيت. اهلا بيك يا فندم، منورانا النهارده.
اهلا بيك.
الله يكرمك يا فندم.
اتفضل لو حضرتك عايز تسالني اي حاجه.
لا انا قلت اتكلم بس.
دكتوره منى هعقب بس. هو النقطه دي اثيرت قبل كده في كورس قبل كده. And the answer is there are some small changes that the cost controller can evaluate, but there are some big changes actually that are beyond the cost controller background and capability. In this case, the cost estimator will have to be called in to do this exercise.
Yes.
So in this case, I generally say even these changes and trends are part of the cost estimating capabilities and duty. That's but your question is very good actually. Yes, we are actually doing, to get the estimate at completion, you will be doing cost estimation, monitoring, and cost control. I hope that answered your question, Dr.
Okay. Thank you.
Any question? Any others? Please. Yeah, Aya, yes, please.
Dr. Engineer Harras, thank you so much for this lecture. I am very, very grateful for your knowledge. It was very well delivered. It is very clear. However, I need to ask about a lot of things. I come from a background of architecture. I am not a senior in my field, so perhaps my questions are going to be very basic for your advanced knowledge. I'm sorry for that in advance.
No. Let me just start. You put your question. I said actually, estimation can be easily picked up. We say two elements of the estimation, the tools and concepts, which everybody of us should know. Then the background doesn't actually affect highly. I mean, we come from different backgrounds, and we should be considering any field. You are architectural, you may be actually going into process. It's just because, again, we said communication. All you need to have is communication. Is you need to think about the scope, and then list the items, and then say, who answered me this item? This man, this engineer, this. So knowledge, you can get it from whatever your background is, or yes. I just give you a clear example. Hisham Mikawi is an architect. Hisham Mikawi is an architect. Okay. And when he was, I think, 38, he was the regional manager of BP, Middle East and North Africa. So wow. He came from, yeah. What happened is actually he took this guy that he needs some business tools and concepts. And I think he got maybe some MBA on this, and then mix it with petroleum engineer, with economists, with drilling engineers, and the overall business thing. You should not be a professional piping engineer or a professional instrumentation engineer to make these estimates. But you should know how to outline the problem, how to list the elements, and then go to maybe 10, 20 people from your team and ask questions. That's it. So put your question now, please.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I was wondering because when I was with you throughout the lecture, you were discussing the different phases for cost estimates. And then there's the preliminary phase or the conceptual phase, and it is entirely based on a conceptual design. Now, because perhaps, again, my background is architecture and we work very closely with conceptual design, as it is usually by project completion or by tendering, the project has completely mutated into a very different project. The cost estimate that is based on a preliminary or a conceptual design is usually very far off the mark from what is actually tendered.
What we said about that, I mean, your conceptual estimate is something like plus or minus 25%, because it is based on fairly limited information. Now, your concepts, your design concepts are further developed into detailed design, detailed quantities, detailed specification, and that should bring the figure big difference.
So this is the standard 15% maturity of the project, then the 60%, then the 90% as an estimate for project completion?
This is the AAC classification. Yeah, yes, indeed. Actually, after one other estimate, after the definitive estimate, which is when we decide to invest, it's a big decision. After starting the project, there is another estimate called the control estimate, with the accuracy plus or minus 5%. So you go down from plus or minus 25 to plus or minus 15, and then plus or minus 5. The thing is, the more information you have, the more accuracy you have. So don't be embarrassed or don't be surprised, frustrated, if you say the conceptual estimate of this hotel is 500 million, and then you end up with 700 million. It's simply the range of accuracy and the more information you have. Maybe you can say that lots of parameters at the phase of this conceptual estimating were not defined. such as the contracting strategies, such as the market sources of key equipment, many parameters. So it's natural. What you said, it is natural. What were the figures that you were talking about exactly, just to confirm?
30% standard for our submissions, usually in the office where I work, is 30% maturity, 60% maturity, 90% maturity, which is our bid. So we bid at 90%, waiting to hear feedback from the bidders if there is further information that is needed.
Are you the owner or the consultant in this case?
I'm the consultant. I represent the consultant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The thing is, as I said, did you get quite odd bids from the contractor compared to your estimate?
Yes, unfortunately, yes. There's a huge spectrum. There was more than 25% variation, and it did not come with the civil works. It came with the electromechanical and the other disciplines.
Yes, because this actually, the definition of this is very limited during the concept development.
Exactly, this is why I was asking, because it was very limited. It was very immature in the preliminary design, and it ended. Exactly. It was a mall. It was a very big mall, so the bulk of it was for the other disciplines and not for the civil works.
For sure, that's quite natural. I mean, the definition of these MEP items is very limited at the beginning, and the detailed design actually brings the real world, the real quantities. And even when it comes to the specification, that makes this item quite different from the conceptual estimate, conceptual estimate.
Can I bother you with two other questions?
Please.
The contingency for each item, doesn't this overly inflate the cost estimates? Shouldn't we just have contingency for the bulk items or the main items?
No, we don't evaluate the contingency from the size of the element. We evaluate the contingency from the risks associated with the item.
Okay.
If it is a big item, if it is a big item, but if you say what can happen, what wrong can happen with this item, there is a workshop, a team of maybe 10 professionals. Not very. So it's a big cost, but there is no risks. If it is a stable market, for example, and the concrete is a big item, and the market is steady, forget these days that we are passing.
Yes.
It's a big item, yes, but the facilitator will ask, do we expect any market increases? No. Do we expect any exceptional weather conditions? No, not that much. So the contingency will be very limited on that thing. Other small items, if you ask, yes, market can fluctuate, yes, execution can have difficulties, yes. So the risks are based on the amount of risk. So the contingency is based on the amount of risk associated with each type. Actually, the software adds up and it uses Monte Carlo analysis, and it's a very interesting exercise actually that is part of this thing. Although it's definitely a risk management exercise, but we briefly go over it and see how the risks associated develop the contingency, and that actually needs some information. This slide actually here reflects what happens actually on various activities based on the risks. So this is the base estimate. This is what the estimator says, and then the people around the table say if things go well, then the best estimate could be less, and if they go worse, the worst can go like that high. And the software actually make some analysis of these figures and calculate the total contingency. And even the contingency that we take is a management decision, because it actually is a buffer or a coverage for if things go wrong.
Yes,
so it's a probability. It's a probability. The thing is, okay, you are a project manager, and your estimate is 1 billion. And if I ask you, are you sure you can finish within 1 billion? No, exactly. Something can go wrong. okay, how bad? You can say, well, it can go 100 million more. I say just that, then you can say back, well, but things can go wrong. I want to cover everything. So it can go 300. So this is a level of confidence or confidence level. So I tell you, if I give you 1,300,000,000, say, no, definitely this is it. This is the 90% confidence. Sure,
Yes.
not more than that. So it's even a decision. Shall we take 100 as a contingency, 150 or 300? It's a management decision. And if you talk about things like the schedule, if it is a big government project and we expect the prime minister or the minister or the president, then the management say, I need 100% confidence. I don't want you to give me a date and then go to the president and say, no, something's wrong with, we're not ready. So the confidence level is what the management say. Tell me what maximum money you can cost. I will arrange the funding. Tell me what time you need so that on that date, you don't give me any excuse that you are not ready because the big people will be fired.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah.
This takes me to my last question, and it might be a bit off scope, but I noticed generally when we discuss project management, we tend to discuss project management from the perspective of mobilization and site work.
Yeah.
When then again, working in the field, I realized some projects take years in the design phase, and there's a lot of hidden costs that the owner has to actually cough up to be able to arrive at the mobilization phase. Does no scope of project management entail this phase? So a big project, perhaps an airport project, a mall project, can spend 2 years under design and development to arrive at a tender and an actual accepted bid. And these 2 years are not reflected anywhere in our project management cycle.
This is a really good question. And if that's the situation, we should consider it. The thing is, so you said, to make sure that I understand, you have been given, you as a consultant, prepared a tender document with an estimated bill of quantity, and the bidders, the contractors took this and made their proposals. These BOQ and specs were based on the basic design.
Yes.
Okay, then what happens is after the awarding, the detailed design comes in. And this is where the real life comes, you know, the brief basic design is developed into lots of detailed drawings, more specifications, and so on, which makes the actual estimate different than that thing. We normally, as a contractor, have the room to call for variations. We qualify our tender price. We say this item costs 50 million based on this quantity and these specifications. Yes. Later on, if the detailed engineering say, oh, the quantity, say 50,000 cubic meter concrete is now 60. So we have to adjust for the quantities. And if the specs change, then we have to change the price for the specs. So the ultimate figure will be that figure actually. Of course, this we are talking about reimbursable or quantity unit rate contract. Yes, it's not a lump sum.
Not a lump sum. Not a lump sum.
Indeed, in the now forget that you are architect for a moment.
Yes.
You go to a process or power project. The feed estimate develops quite detailed designs to make good quantities and clear specifications.
And the credible estimate, like you said earlier, the idea is to arrive at a credible estimate.
Yes. And the owner makes his internal estimate based on this, and the bidders are requested to quote lump sum. So if this feed design is good enough not for execution, but for pricing and estimation. The detailed design should not develop more information that affect the cost estimate figures. It just gives details on how to do it. Of course, the very important note that the estimators doing this on a refinery or a power generation plant have what they call development allowance or design development allowance. Say that we know definitely, and this is every project, that this basic design, when it goes to detailed design, there are some extras there. This design development allowance or development allowance ranges from 2.5% maybe to 5%. Depends on the quality of the feed. The feed actually can take 8 months or can take 18 months. With 8 months, you can expect this shortage that the details are not enough. But there is quality feed packages for 16 or 18 months that gives complete details and lots and lots of details. So again, the item development allowance is one item, one clear item that the estimator should not overlook, should not forget. It depends. It's just say, shall I take 2% or 5%? He asks the engineers, what is the quality of this feed package? Is it good or is it open for further details? So depending on the quality and completeness of the feed package, he can say 2% is enough to cover the development allowance. Or if it is bad or not mature enough, so we say
then we can go up
5%.
to 5%.
With this design development allowance, he should be covered for things that come during the detail engineering. But with this quite preliminary or limited basic design in this infrastructure, airport or hotel or whatever, no contractor will agree to bid a lump sum because the unknowns are quite much.
Yes.
I hope we are aligned now.
We are more than aligned. I am very grateful. Thank you so much once again. Thank you very much for taking the time to address my questions as well.
Thank you. You're welcome anytime, you and all the colleagues. More questions, please. Also champions. Coastal champions, we are listening to you. We have 20 participants online now. Okay. Anyway, we continue this dialogue of communication, information sharing, knowledge sharing. I'm glad to do that. You have my email at the front page, my profile. I'm glad to receive any further verifications on this or any other items in the cost engineering or controls or whatever area that you may find you need some guidance or some information. I'll be glad to answer you. More questions, gentlemen, colleagues? Okay, باشمهندس محمد.
ايوه باشمهندس رمزي، السلام عليكم.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. ها.
ايوه انا مع حضرتك اظن كده يعني كملنا.
عندك سؤال في الكوست انجينيرنج؟
نعم؟
ما عندكش سؤال في الكوست انجينيرنج؟
احنا تلاميذك من زمان يا
شكرا يا ريس. طيب ايه رايكم نقفل النهارده ونستأنف الاسبوع الجاي ان شاء الله؟ في حد عايز يقول سؤال؟ في حد؟
الو معلش الصوت قطع يا باشمهندس.
لا انا بقول في حد بيتهيألي شكله كان عايز يسأل سؤال.
مهندس بسام، في مهندس اسمه بسام.
مهندس بسام؟ باشمهندس بسام
يقدر يفتح المايك.
It's honor for me to meet you today, and I'm very glad and happy to see you. And my question is abbreviated. My question is, what's your opinion about manager do cost estimation with factor multiply 1.2 per price and get the cost estimation and send it to and I work as a consultant engineer in infrastructure. My manager do multiply only in factor and send the price like this. We are in 2023, multiply 1.3. We are in 2024, multiply 1.4. According to this factor, I don't know is that correct or not. Thank.
No, if your manager want to use an escalation from year to year, he should not be using just rough figures like that. I mean, the annual escalation and inflation is known information. It's a very gross figure. Yeah. لا مش دلوقتي. Benefits of the Zoom. Back. You cannot escalate by 20%. But if he's quoting a specific thing, he can qualify, he can justify this thing. But in general, if you are making an estimate of activities in 2023, you expect that the same figure will increase in 2024 by how much? By the annual escalation, be it 10%, 8%, 20%. We agree on that. Is that your question? Does this answer your question?
He didn't use cost estimation. He don't gather information. He just multiply, مثلا, gate valve cost last year $400. Multiply it in 1.2 and get the cost estimation from this equation. Is this operation is right or wrong? You don't use cost estimation at all. It's just a multiply number and get the cost and depend on this cost.
No, it's not simple like that. I mean, the prices of this year, then 20% more is the price for next year. It could be less or could be more actually. And indeed, for these items, valves or pumps or whatever, we normally just pick the phone and call a budget quotation from the
vendor list. Vendor list never not give us the prices. They want us to buy or come from contractor to give them the prices. We are as a consultant. They didn't give us the prices. They just give us the
it's
product.
Very strange. It's very strange to me. I think normally the vendors respond to any budget inquiry and give you a figure and say this figure is plus or minus 15% accurate, so that when you make an actual order, you can expect the number to increase by 15% or maybe less within the accuracy range that
some of them give it as friendship, يعني ما بدهاش يعني give it just for make advantage or something like that with us, يعني محبة, يعني مش عارف favoritism يعني.
No, it's quite information useful. It doesn't cost him a lot, but it's good for me to make a sort of a conceptual estimate, a preliminary estimate. It doesn't cost him much, but is good for me. But in any case, when I say the valve is 400, is qualified by a vendor quotation. If the vendor doesn't respond, what I will do is I refer to a similar project. Okay, it's not the first project, it's not the first gate valve, right? So there is a project. Yes. The project could be 2 years ago, and the price could be, say, $300. So I escalate 2 times, 1 year and another second year, so I can get then the benchmark estimate based on this annual escalation. So this is how we do it. If I have a similar project, okay, are we still online? If we have
Yes,
if we have a similar project appear, we can ask him. So there are various options apart from the vendor if he's not responding. But each figure we have has its quality regarding when it was built, if it's the same specifications, same service, if it is the same size. You can maybe have not exactly the size you are using on your project, so you need to scale up or scale down depending on the size difference. You need to escalate for the time difference. You need to escalate for the market conditions. The markets sometimes do not follow the annual escalation. They boom like that. They maybe double the prices in some cases. So you have to use the maximum rationale. نقص تقدير عقلي أو تقدير يعني معلوماتي للموضوع. So this is how, but just blind 20% or 40%, you cannot justify. If I ask you what is this, you cannot really justify.
yes.
I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
So colleagues, any more questions? Any more questions, please? Hamid. Muhammad Amr. Muhammad Salah. Muhammad Salah. Naveen. Questions, colleague? Any questions? By the way, one of the best men I've met is state engineer Ashraf Aluba. He was the president of ECG.
السلام عليكم باشمهندس فوزي.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
ما اعرفش حضرتك سامعني؟ اظن كده
I was actually making a closing note to the people if they have a question and they say, is it a good question or not question? Engineer Ashraf Aluba used to tell us, there is no silly question. The only silly question is the question that you had in mind and did not pass it. So if you have any question in any area, let us hear with you and we will be glad. Otherwise, Engineer Muhammad Hussein is looking to close the meeting. So any last chance, any question?
You said about Engineer Ashraf Aluba. What's about him? You can.
Ashraf Aluba was the president of ECG. I worked with this company for 1 year, and he was actually, if you want an engineer, you have a professional engineer, a leader, an excellent leader, a man. He's a very, very kind man. He was an excellent character. He died actually some time ago.
In USA, he died in USA, and his partner is engineer Sami Abdel Qawi.
Sami Abdel Qawi.
He's the partner of the ECG. It's the same company.
There was a big difference between the two, but I like the engineer. We learned a lot from engineer Ashraf Aluba actually.
Someone work an ECG engineer, big engineer in our company, tell me engineer Ashraf Aluba choose the faces of people. Which has
yes, and that's what I'm telling you. He is a man. He is a man.
Yes.
After all, he is a human being. He is
smart. He is smart, very smart. Select people in his job and built empire called ECG.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. الله يرحمه ويحسن إليه. هو راجل متكرر النماذج المتميزة. Anyway, thank you very much for your attendance. We hope next lecture will go further and further through our cost engineering topics. And thank you for your participation, for those who gave some questions. And to all of you, thank you very much. So we see you next Wednesday. I hope things go right. I will be running from Dubai. I hope things go right on the Zoom as well. So, but at the same time, I think 7 o'clock Cairo local time. So, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. باشمهندس محمد خلاص هنخرج الميتنج.
باشمهندس فوزي السلام عليكم.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
طيب احنا حضرتك سامعني؟
سامعك.
طيب أنا حابب أشكر زمايلنا المهندسين. I would like to thank everyone here in the meeting. Thank you for your attendance. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. Tomorrow, inshallah, we will post the lecture online and the materials. And if anyone interested to continue the course, all the details will be found on our social media. And I have to announce that there is another free lecture next Sunday, inshallah, on FEDIC topic. Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.